lots of different variety of nods and shakes and reactions and sighing and screaming and just keep the lights down. Also some animations that played with Wheatley's mechanics. This is him imitating a Univac computer, the tape reel of one of the old computers when he's plugged in. And ways he can use his body in different ways. He's about to be sucked into the tube, and then once he's in the tube, he's having fun rolling around. So just exploring these special capabilities he had because he was a machine kind of gave him almost like fun little superpowers. And there were some animations, once we got the vocals in from Stephen Merchant, there was just some little quirks in his delivery that were just, that he did a lot, and they were very, very unique, and some custom animations were made to go along with those little vocal quirks.
Bring you up to speed on something right now. Hold on, where are we going? Seriously. Hang on, let me just get my bearings. Just follow the rail, actually. Don't use anything else. Don't touch anything else. Don't even look at anything else. Just, well, obviously you've got to look at everything else to find the escape pod. But as soon as you look at something that doesn't say escape pod, look at something else. Look at the next thing, all right? But don't touch anything else or look at it. Well, look at other things, but don't. You understand? So that a big library of all those big little pieces was created, plus a lot of things were just as simple as head move up, head move down, to the side, some tilts, some reactions, just very simple things that were created as we call them gestures, and they're deltas that just can be layered on top of an idle animation, and can just add a head move or an eye move or a blink or a nod on top of the base idle. And what would happen is that the animator would work with the level designers every time a map with the Wheatley was being developed. They'd work out what mood he would be in, whether he'd be plugged in or if he would be damaged. If Gladys was after him and he was scared, he might tend to be doing his base animation just might be a lot of blinking and glancing around. If he was relaxed, then he might just have a neutral, idle looking at the player, on top of which little movements could be added to go along with his dialogue. And again, all that advanced preparation of preparing his library, figuring out his movement language, and planning with the level designers were needed, because when it came time to put everything together for his final animation, it was just going to be limited time to do that. And this was accomplished using Valve's proprietary animation tool. It's an animation compositing tool called Face Poser. So animations are not created in this tool. Once you have a library of little bits and pieces, you can bring those pieces.
We also have a Face Poser in Gmod.
Face Poser was initially created for Half-Life 2. It allowed a small amount of animators to create a huge amount of content very, very quickly. And that was exactly what was going to be needed for Wheatley. So all of our planning and preparation went into doing his animation that way. And in fact, one animator did all of Wheatley's animation library and his dialogue, all of his dialogue, for the first half of the game. Just one person, very, very quickly. So that definitely worked out well. And this is a closer view of Face Poser. We've got the viewport that shows the results of the animation that you're compositing together. At the very top is at the top of this timeline is a wave with the audio there. So this file is initially created as a VCD file, which stands for Val Choreo Data File, which just starts out
having just the audio, no animation in it. Once that is generated, then the animator opens it up, and that's what all these files are, these old VCDs that have been created that have the audio in there. The animator opens it up and starts going over to the library of different movements, different idles, different gesture, delta animations, different, if there were very specific animations like a scream or an eye pop, those could be dropped in. They weren't deltas, they just temporarily would overwrite the idle just to get that animation happening. So all of those lived over here. You drag them down to this timeline, and then you would start layering things. There was a button in Face Poser where you could set what the base idle was going to be in the map or part of the map where this line was going to be delivered. So if Wheatley was going to be plugged in when he's saying this line, you would set that would be the base idle that this animation would be based on. You would look at, once you set in your little bits and pieces for your animation, you'd look at the viewport and see does that dialogue work with him being plugged in, and make adjustments to things. Sometimes if an idle was very active, certain things, certain animations layered on top of it that might break things or be too extreme, so you have to kind of tweak around. But generally, these animations were turned around very, very quickly. There might be a load of like 60 lines all edited and ready to go, delivered, and then those could get a first pass laid on them in like 4 hours, and then they were ready to go in the game. And most of the time the lines maybe got a second pass on them, and then that was it. He had so many lines in the game that had to be done so quickly, and this really ended up working perfectly. So I will show you. This will show you a bit of how one of his lines came together in Facebook.
There's our handiwork. I shouldn't laugh, really. They do feel pain, of a sort. It's all simulated, you know. But real enough for them, I suppose.
And this will show...
There's our handiwork. I shouldn't laugh, really. They do feel pain, of a sort. It's all simulated, you know. But real enough for them, I suppose.
And it helped that the animator who prepared the library was also the one that was assembling all these animations. So everything could be brought together very, very quickly without having to figure out what all the bits and pieces were. And the best thing about all of this is that a lot of Wheatley's animations were reused for the personality cores. And their vocals were recorded late in production, and we knew that would be the case. So there were a few little custom things that were created for them, but generally that huge library that was created for Wheatley was very nicely repurposed for these guys. And in fact, that overactive idle that wasn't quite appropriate for Wheatley. It worked out perfectly for the Space Corps. Now, in the later part of the game, Wheatley undergoes a transformation. I won't go into the details of that, but for this version of Wheatley, there's a big sequence where it's all custom animated. It happens when the player is restricted in an elevator. And, so there's just one point of view. Wheatley would not have to react to the player moving around in the map and have animations that were like in bits and pieces that could turn and react to them. So the player is pretty well in one space, and his animation for this scene and the animation for the wall panels behind him that are reacting is just one huge, long animation scene.